Welcome to the Dead Pixel Society podcast, the photo imaging industry's leading news source. Here's your host, Gary Peugeot.
The Dead Pixel Society podcast is brought to you by MediaClip, Photo Finale, and Advertech Printing. Hello again and welcome to the Dead Pixel Society podcast. I'm your host, Gary Peugeot, and today we're joined by Michael Buzinski, the president and CMO of Buzzworthy Website Marketing. Hi, Michael. How are you today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Great. So, Michael, tell us a little bit about Buzzworthy Website Marketing and what your experience is starting that business.
So Buzzworthy is a digital marketing firm that works with service-centric businesses, such as the photography industry. And our job is to help people get profitable revenue from their websites. And I started it actually, this is pretty much the third iteration of my business that I started in 2005, which started actually as a production studio and then morphed into a classic creative agency, kind of like an ad agency, but we did all the creative work in-house as well.
Sure.
And about 3 years ago, I broke that into two different companies because I felt we were missing the SMB market's needs and just becoming the classic no face, big mamma jamma agencies. And so I've been building websites and marketing them since 1999.
Okay.
I have been part of over 1,000 website builds, served 1,200 brands, the whole 9 yards.
So you've seen some things from GeoCities on upwards.
Oh, yeah, I have. GeoCities. Wow. You're going back. You might have dated yourself.
Yeah, I might have, yes. Marketing websites ain't what it used to be, right? People have, kind of throw up a page and say, hey, I have a website I'm marketing, right? I just got a press release from somebody who just literally said, we just updated our website, right? That was the news, right? As if websites should be updated all the time. So you have some clients in the imaging industry. What are some of the digital marketing opportunities and or mistakes you see them making?
Well, my clients don't because they work with me, but what we see, I had to do it. I'm sorry. But what we do see on a regular is that people ignore their website and the power their website has and the leverage it has on their revenue. And it no longer is it the land of websites are just online brochures. Websites are an extension of our sales process and the customer journey that works, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, doesn't take sick leave, doesn't take holidays, doesn't ask for raises, the whole 9 yards. And we ignore it so badly on a regular. And the reason is because we feel as business owners that our networks are strong enough to pull us through. People will refer us. We have the arrogance that think that we are on the top of everybody's mind at all times. So, I will come up in every conversation that needs to happen in my community, blah, 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 blah.
Right.
And also the misnomer that you have to compete with national websites for local business. And that's where I span that gap. I only work with small to medium-sized businesses, and most imaging companies are going to be classified as a small business. I mean, you could be a multi-million-dollar small business,
right?
Okay, until you're getting past like 100 employees, you're pretty much a small business,
right?
So, with that said, there's things that don't scale from the enterprise arena that people look at and go, oh, shiny thing over there. Look, that's what Apple does. We got to do that for our hometown photography business. And it's like, no.
I remember when Flash was a big thing, right? Everyone had Flash on their website, right?
Oh, yeah. And now you can't load a website with Flash. Like it just won't load on an Apple computer. And pretty much any computer nowadays. I mean, it's pretty much out of there. And so in the evolution of websites, and we'll get into the technical stuff, I will talk about the fact that how we use our websites to tell our story is so important because 68% of consumers start their customer journey with a search query, and those search queries connect to our websites. So even if you are lucky enough to been around long enough to where you're number one for all the keywords for your industry, or you're part of the industry, you still have to convert that visitor to a potential client.
Right.
And if you're not telling your story correctly, you're bleeding literally money out of your website to your competitors. Because if they don't find trust and likability of your company, they're going to go to the next one until they do.
Right.
Because that's who we do business with.
Right.
People we like and trust.
Do you think like local companies may believe, since they're in a local community, they have an advantage, so they do neglect their website?
Yeah, they do. And the problem is this: Google wants to give the local business the juice.
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't put a glass out there, they can't fill it.
Right.
And so when you don't have a Google My Business page that's optimized and all the things that go on with that, even if you just have a one-page website, is better than having a derelict 10-page website with a bunch of pictures on it.
Right.
The pictures, that's where photographers specifically get all wrapped up. Like, I need to have a lot of imagery to show what I can do.
Sure.
And a gallery is good to a point, but people aren't looking past probably 10 or 15 images to decide whether you are the style they're looking for or not.
Right.
And where I see, I do have one photographer I've been working with for about 15 years, and we've worked with him in 3 different business entities in the image industry.
Right.
And his first one was portrait photography, and he did portrait photography, wildlife photography, event photography, you name it, he did it. Right. And so his website was all over the place. And I feel that the image industry is now is forcing people to be experts at one thing and do it super well. And then within that niche, they need to have a style that is theirs, that is signature, that is something that people can't do with their phones and is different than their competitors around them.
Right. So what were the other 2 entities that this photographer?
So then he created then we got him into wildlife photography. And so he had a gallery, and he did Northern Lights was his main thing, but wildlife photography in national parks.
Okay.
And then he started doing classes, and he got certified with like Nikon and stuff like that. And then he just bought a wilderness safari, or like a photo safari. It's called Alaska Photo Treks.
Okay.
And so now he does that more than he does his wildlife photography. Like, he has his gallery and he does gorgeous prints. I actually bought a few, and he's been commissioned by the state for their 50th anniversary and stuff like that. So like, he's established, but him, like most wildlife photographers, have to hustle and always be selling a product, where, you know, the photo safari is ripe. We are in an experiential economy right now. People buy experiences more so than they do physical things.
Right.
Right. We've become this utilitarian experiential beings right now is really hot. So going on vacation and taking pictures while you're on vacation is great. But going on vacation and then going on a photo safari with it. Like, I went down to South Africa just to go on a photo safari. So I went all the way around the world, halfway around the world, just to take pictures of elephants and giraffes and all that good stuff.
And the interesting there is as the hardware is becoming more commoditized, right?
Right.
You know, is there really for 95% of the people, there is no practical difference between a Nikon or a Canon or a Pentax or an Olympus or whatever. It'll all take, for 95% of the people, great pictures. And
98%. I would say there's only 2% of the people actually,
but anyway,
can figure that out.
But the point is for somebody to differentiate why you have to have that camera, and experience is the way to do that.
And even being able to take any camera and showing people the basics of photography is a huge deal. Like, if you can teach people, I mean, that's what Instagram, like a lot of photographers on Instagram, that's what they do. They teach people how to be better photographers. And in the hope that when they have an event, that they'll be the one that's called, because they're the one that taught them how to do the photography they like to look at.
So is there something here? Here's the question, right? There's a couple questions there. One is, not everyone is suited to do that. Not everyone is called to be a teacher, if you will, or a demonstrator. So you've got that issue to deal with. And also, how much of that do you have to do before you actually starts translating into sales? because it sounds to me like it's a constant stream. You can't just drop the Instagram video and then wait for the phone call.
No. I tell you, there is who was it? It might've been Gary V, which I don't quote him very often, but he did talk about content marketing a couple of years ago. And he says, it's like, you're going to do it for a year and nobody's going to care.
Right.
Nobody's going to care. Right. Nobody's going to notice. Nobody's going to engage. It's there. And you know what? This is the crazy thing. I love teaching. And for last year, I was on a blog kick. I made it 8 months. And I was like, and there were short blogs. They were social media blogs.
Sure.
And in my industry. And I got tired of it. And I'm like, I need to be able to deliver it in a way that is not exhausting to me and gets the same message out there where people are going to consume it. And so really, anybody who's forcing themselves into something like that needs to stop right away, because you'll never get enjoyment out of it if you don't enjoy it right off the bat. Period. End of story.
And your audience is going to realize that. I mean, everyone knows when somebody doesn't enjoy doing something.
Yeah. You'll do it. You'll do it just good enough. It'll be just good enough. And just good enough doesn't matter anymore, because there's 1,000 other people looking for those same views. But at a local level, your social media is really a conversion tool.
Right.
You should be using it to build your community that you already have.
Right.
And then work the inbound marketing through the search engines and whatnot. And then maybe some outbound marketing to augment that. Right. But all of it comes down to your website. If your website does not talk to your target, your most profitable audience, then you're losing money and opportunity costs and all the things, because without it, you're just not going to convert. Like, people are going to come to the website. They're not going to get it. They're going to get confused and they're going to run away. They want to see something that they can latch onto.
So what do you say to people who say, why do I need a website? I've got an app.
You have an app?
Yeah.
An app. So you have something that sits on, and how do you get your app out there? How do people know that you even have an app?
There are some people who say an app is a solution to the customer engagement because it's sitting on their people's phone and you can send them notifications and whatnot, but you've got to.
That's great once you have the client, but they're not going to download an app unless it's doing something for them. Right. So if you're an event photographer, what does the app do until they book you? Right. Boom, 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 done. Right. I think that people get lazy in that they think that there is one thing that's going to change their marketing, and it's an ecosystem. It's just like the rest of your business, right? It's its own business in itself, is in marketing, right? You have to have your social media presence, but you don't have to kill yourself doing it. You have to have inbound marketing. Don't kill yourself doing it, but you got to have it, right? You got to have the things that bring people in and keep them engaged. And if you miss out on engagement, you're going to go broke hoping that your website's going to make you money.
Now, you keep mentioning the word engagement, but again, I keep coming back to the standpoint that a lot of people who've gotten into the photo industry got into it not necessarily to engage with people, but because they like either making pictures, or they like the technical side, or they like printing, or something like that engaging with people was probably not the first thing they do. Now, I mean, we have people in the camera side of the business who are great. I mean, they every time a new camera comes in, they do a unboxing and they reviews, do that stuff, and it's a killer for them. It works. Not everyone is like that. So how do you manage that? Do you just say, okay, I'm not going to do it, or I'm going to do it badly, or I got to find someone else to do it? Maybe I find I've even heard of people finding customers to come in and be their people because they're so bad at it.
If you don't do anything badly, like you do everything that you can do 100%. If you don't know how to do that, get somebody else who will do it for you. Okay. Now, don't hire somebody who's going to create followers on social media. That's not going to, that traffic itself is 1/7 as likely to do business with you than people with intent. And people with intent use the search engines to do it, to find you. Okay. 68% of all transactions start with a search query. So 2/3 of the people in the United States start with hey, Google, hey, Siri, hey, Apple, or not hey, Apple, Safari, search, Bing, Yahoo, all of those, right? 2/3 of all of people will start there. Okay. Even if they don't start there, guess what? They go back there to find out your reputation, to find your website and see what you offer before they call you. They're going to use the map to find out where your location's at. All of the things go through there. 14% of all intent traffic and websites and search engines end up being customers versus 2% of social media, organic social media traffic. Okay.
But wait, you got to have all the gram, man. You got to have all those followers. You got to have that.
No, you don't, because people they're coming there for information. That'd be great. But you're looking for customers, and customers are not hanging out on your Instagram for 6 months before they come and buy from you. They're coming to your website to find out if you're likable and trustable. They just want to know that you know what you're doing. So when we do search engine optimization for people who are not very social, we actually utilize one of our social media management tools that just gives a trickle of things, enough to be active for somebody coming in,
right?
And give the SEO triggers to Google to say, oh, by the way, they are active on social media. They are likable.
Right.
And so both of those things are very low cost comparative to somebody diving all the way into a social media campaign that's not really going to pay dividends.
Because I think that's one of the things people look at when they see marketing, right? I mean, it was like you said, they see the shiny and they run towards the shiny. But it doesn't really enhance their business any.
Right. And that's the point, is that you need to have everything that's pointed outward to enhance what you do. Tell the story clearly, concisely, and to the people you want to do business with. Don't try to be everything to everybody.
Right.
Be somebody to someone.
Right.
Find out what that profitable relationship looks like and talk to that. It's either their dreams or their pains that you're going to connect with. Okay.
Right.
So if you solve problems, then identify the problem and show how you solve it. If you aspire dreams, then you show what the dream looks like and how you can get them to that dream.
It was interesting because during COVID, I think a lot of photo companies kind of woke up to that. For example, I know some retailers who, because of COVID, schools were shut down, right? So high school graduates had a very terrible high school graduation experience. So a lot of them got into, because high school graduates want to be recognized, they got into making lawn signs. Because they were addressing that customer's pain, if you will.
Right.
And they need to be recognized with a very profitable product.
Yeah. And your stalkers had really easy targets now. They know where all the 18-year-olds are.
We're staying on the positive side.
We joke about it. It's funny. No, so I live like right down the street from a Catholic church that's been around since like 1913, and they are a renowned Catholic school. And so people move to this neighborhood to raise their kids so they can go to that school. Right. And so they all have the Blessed Sacrament signs, all the senior,
right.
You know where they're all at. So you know which houses are going to go up for sale pretty soon when they empty nest.
But, I was in another community recently where they actually put the high school graduates' pictures on all the street lamp banners.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But I'm just saying that's great for the industry,
demand's
right?
there. Fill it.
Take that picture. And they had to, pay
print
for that banner, and it was a way to
install it.
Because again, it was with the community to recognize these kids who didn't have that opportunity recognized in person. Now, what's going to happen is that's not going away. They're going to have to do that every year.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. So they created a new demand. They created a new niche, and that's awesome. I think that's great. Yeah. And I think that's really the key here. As we digitize the image industry and be in a lot of the things that we have grown up with become commoditized for us old timers, we have to get more and more creative, and we have to create the demand where we can. But that means that we have to stay engaged. We have to be watching how people are utilizing images in their lives and identify the new ways that you can enhance that experience. Because I'm going to go back to it. It's all experiential. You don't have to be a photo safari person to make money or to create an experience with images.
Right.
You just got to find a new way to doing it. Right. Because really, if you think about it, Instagram is a way of experiential image enjoyment.
Sure.
Right. So, I mean, they filled the need and now it's there. But video is definitely the next phase, and still photography has its it has its work cut out for it.
Sure.
If we're going to be monetizing still photography for the years to come, beyond just family portraiture and the with those sticky tiles that they sell now, mixed tiles and those types of products will come and go. Right. So that means that we as small business owners have to find ways to engage our local community and find out how we can enhance the images in their lives, just like you talked about, making banners or whatever it looks like, I think that's our challenge.
Mm-hmm. So if people wanted to learn more about your company and what you're doing, where can they go? I'm sure you have a website.
I happen to have one of those. It's called buzzworthy.biz. That's with 2 Z's, BUZZWORTHY.BIZ.
Mm-hmm.
And that has everything from our do-it-yourself services all the way up to our concierge done for you. My whole point in marketing is keep it simple, make it profitable. If we can do those two things, everybody wins.
And people can connect with you on LinkedIn, I'm sure, correct?
Well, 100%. LinkedIn, Instagram is Buzzworthy Marketing, and everywhere else it's You Are Buzzworthy for the company page.
Well, great, Michael. It was great to have you, and I look forward to talking to you again sometime, and have a great 2022.
Thank you so much. You have a great time.
Thank you for listening to the Dead Pixel Society podcast. Read more great stories and sign up for the newsletter at www.thedeadpixelssociety.com.